All right. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about the 7 levels of consciousness, and I want you guys to hear me. So I'm going to start with level 1. Level 1 makes you or puts you in what we call the sleep state. These are the individuals who are not awake, that are operating in the matrix, that are operating strictly on 3D, okay? And their consciousness essentially is literally bound by the matrix, okay? It's not bound by anything else. They don't have any higher way of thinking or anything like that. So we'll say these are the 3Ders, straight up and down. Some of y'all may even call them NPCs, but these are the 3D folks, okay? That's the first 7 levels of consciousness. Now the next one, which is level 2, is the common sense state. Driven by desires, holding on to ideals of the human mind, constructs created in the matrix, but know some awareness, some things aren't right here on this physical plane. So some of you guys might be operating in that state, in that level of consciousness, okay? But you're going through 7 different stages and 7 different levels of consciousness, all right? So you get a chance to ask yourself, what level are you operating on? All right? Now, level 3, early stages of intellect, scholarism, eclectics, cultural groups, liberals, cultural pride, knows history by books and what's been taught. Rewired programming, mind to ancient history, but has limits to expansion of self. Example, still holding on to acting human and what is taught, holding on to fear and trauma, racism debates, all the isms debates, dominance of who is more knowledgeable than another, dress conscious but won't go further to discipline self towards psychic abilities. Now, some of these could be you. How many people do you know operate like that? If you're operating like that in this particular stage, you are currently at the level 3 stage of your level of consciousness. Okay? Now, we're going to go to level 4. Level 4, the initiate. Master scholar, discoverer of self-interest, open to knowledge of self, shadow work phase, ego death, early peak of discovery, reboot and reprogram the mind, started releasing, DNA coding changing, studying more about self and eliminating ideals that don't serve you. The early stages of enlightenment and overstanding, the ending of karmic loops and chapters, remembering why you came to earth, missions unlocking and beginning. Okay? And you got to take a look at how many people are still having arguments about racism, about race. That already lets you know the state that they're in. And some of these people are locked into that state and won't move out any further than where they are. Then you have individuals who refuse to heal. So the individuals who refuse to heal, you can already tell the level of consciousness that they're operating on. Okay? Level 5, self-growth. Initiating DNA ascension symptoms. Changes in eating are permanent due to frequency elevation. Psychic abilities at its peak. Shadow work. Releasing and letting go. Change in reality. All the ones who operate on level 1 and 2 are no longer around you. Drive every day to be your true form internally. Secrets of the universe. Enlightenment intensifying. Major tests to see how serious you are. Okay? That is level 5. All right? I'm not reading a book. That is level 5. All right. Level 6. Level 6. Initiate to mastery. Higher or future self meets you. Psychic gifts development. All your knowledge coming from within you. Soul activation. More interest in the stars and different forms of divination. Paying attention to nature more. In tune with source within. Enjoy more nature. Major tests and dark night of the soul. As well as more releasing so higher self can enter into you. Integration. Loving all aspects of self as well as healing self. Radiating your light to others around you. Major manifestation, peak of brand new being. Are any of you guys operating on this level of consciousness? Now, how many times have you guys heard me say, this is for the folks who already on some, well, how can you prove it? See, these people that always want to have something proven to them, in that way, first of all, they're thinking from a linear perspective. That's number 1. They're looking straight ahead and think that, oh, if it doesn't come like that in the way that I process it, then it must not be happening. That's not true. Things are always happening on a multi-dimensional level. Remember, there are multi-dimensional versions of who you are. You have what we call aspects. So even though you may not, this 3D version may not be able to recognize something, but your other aspects are able to recognize it, so it's going to hit your subconscious mind. And it may come back to you, around to you later. Okay? Where am I getting this information from? And I tell you, I go from within. And I remember when I started coming out with this quote-unquote controversial information, and I started talking to people about this, and they had a hard time with it because it was like, well, if I can't find it in the book, but they didn't understand that I'm not operating on the same level of consciousness that they're operating on. They're operating at a consciousness level of 4. I'm not operating on that, or 3. I'm not operating on that conscious level. I'm operating on a whole different level. That's why it's very hard for certain people to receive the messages that I'm trying to convey, which is okay. I'm okay with that. They're just not okay with it because they don't understand, but they're not going to get to that until they get to that point of taking themselves seriously and doing the work. They're never going to be able to see the same perspective that I see because they haven't done the necessary work, and they're not looking at things from a healed set of eyes or a balanced set of eyes. They're looking at things still from operating from their trauma that they haven't healed from. So when you have those things in front of you, then that's the eye that you're going to be operating from. Okay? It doesn't mean that the person is wrong. It just means that we're not operating on the same space. All right. Now we're going to go to number 7. 7, mastery, completion, already merging to new world. You came here to get it and refuse to go back or return back to earth knowing what you know. Share your knowledge, spiritual gifts, and craft to inspire others. They can do it too. How many times have you guys heard me say that? I'm going to need you guys to get out here and start doing this stuff on your own. I'm going to need y'all to do that. How many times have you heard me say I need to take a break because I instilled enough information for those of you for you to get out here and do it on your own? So those are what you call your 7, that's what you call your 7 levels of consciousness.